Today is September 27th, and I'm going to call to order our meeting for September 27, 2021, and it's 5:31 p.m. And I want to welcome everyone. And I believe I saw Joe Amico. Joe, are you there?
Yes, I am. Good evening.
Good evening. Um, are any other of your colleagues with you, or is it just you this evening, Joe?
I believe the rest of my colleagues are just pulling in right now.
Oh, okay. All
I
right.
see
So,
some names
all
popping
right.
up there.
So, do you maybe you could just start setting up and we'll start when they're all in.
Yeah, our thought was we'd spend maybe 3 or 4 minutes just going over the general project and then
Okay.
take questions.
Okay. All right.
Kind of keep it simple.
So let's welcome all of you. We have Joseph Amico, Kenneth Ginsberg, Alexander Corralius, and Harvey Shapiro. And you can tell us a little bit about the Arbor Haven presentation and what your proposal is. And it's mixed housing. It's a mixed housing plan for the former Country Club of Woodbridge property.
That's correct. I think Alex is going to take over the mic, as they
Okay.
say,
Okay.
and put up the presentation, and then we'll just kind of scroll along through it.
Okay. All right.
Um,
We're flexible. We're flexible.
So I will go ahead and change Alexander as the presenter, and he'll be able to share his screen. So give me a second to do that. Okay. So Alexander should be able to share his screen now. Could try that.
Alex, you present?
I see his.
There he goes. All
Yeah.
right.
There we go. Here we go.
All right. Alex, if we could, let's skip to the aerial map. Yep, that's a good one right there. Maybe we can cover the whole screen with that. All right. As I believe it was Lori mentioned that the um, proposed development is a multi-housing development, not multi-family housing, but a multi-housing in that we have a lot of different types of housing there. We tried to follow the general ethos, if you will, of Woodbridge. I read through the zoning regulation. You have two types of residential zoning at the moment: residential A and residential B. Um, Along Johnson and Ansonia, the proposal is we're going to do residential A lots, which are acre-and-a-half lots um, all along Johnson and Ansonia. Uh, and those houses, homes, if you will, would have private driveways. Um, we would double up the driveways so you don't have a driveway every 200 feet along the road there. So every 400 feet or so, you'd have a driveway for the houses that are being serviced by that driveway. I think the total was 35 houses, homes, if you will.
Did you
That
show us which one that that would
yeah,
go in?
yeah, I think yeah. See the purple around
Yes.
there?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
That's that's what that would is what the
Okay.
so the outside, if you will, of the property would look a lot like the rest of Woodbridge with
Mm-hmm.
larger homes on larger lots. The little gray thing there shows how um, you know, there's a tentative breakdown. That's not exactly how it would be, but it's just to give you a frame of reference. You know, that's what we would call a fourplex. There would be one driveway coming up the middle, and it would service those four houses.
Mhm, mhm,
All right, and that's how we reduce the number of curb cuts along Ansonia and Johnson.
mhm,
Um, you know, it wouldn't be exactly like that because it kind of contour it to uh, the way the land runs,
mhm,
um, rather than just trying to make it a square or something like that.
mhm,
But it gives you the idea. Um, that's that the intent there obviously was to keep the exterior of the development consistent with the rest of Woodbridge, so that anybody who's driving along Johnson or Ansonia would simply see, if they could see the houses because they'll be set back, they would just look like the rest of the houses in Woodbridge. With the, uh, I'll go through the other two types of housing that we have there. We have age restricted homes, which is this kind of orangey yellowish. I'm not sure what that color is. Um, I think we have 60 of those homes. Um, most of them are market rate, and sampling of them would be affordable. Uh, those homes are intended to comply with what you would call your residential B zoning, which is roughly, you know, one third of an acre lot size. They would be, I think it's 15,000 square feet is what the zoning reg calls for. Uh, that whole area over there would be where we would slot all of the age restricted homes, which means that by deed, you wouldn't have school age kids in those homes. It would be, you know, senior oriented housing. If anybody's been over to Orange to, what do they call that, Fieldstone?
Oh,
Um, that's it's no, we're not doing Fieldstone. That's all I can tell you. It's not
oh,
it's it's the concept, but it's not the execution. Let's put it that way. It's the idea that you have a, neighborhood which is for, you know, couples, retired, whatever, who don't want to deal with all of the work that's involved with having an acre and a half or a 2 acre lot, um, but still want to live in Woodbridge. So, and you know, based on what we saw, um, we could easily do a better job than they did over at Fieldstone, simply because we have a little more room to work with. And if you follow the residential B zoning, the spacing comes out a little bit nicer. And I personally was turned off by what I saw because the houses were like 10 feet apart over in Fieldstone, and didn't do anything for me, at least. Um, but people seem to like them. So, you know, who's to say, you know, what people's tastes will imply. Um, our view is that we want to keep um, the feel of the property intact. This Woodbridge Country Club, you know, you have a lot of nice old trees on the property. Our intent is not to cut down a single tree if we can. There are, you know, I've walked the property maybe 5 or 6 hours in total. Um, most of the trees are very healthy. There's a, you know, there's some obviously that need some pruning or cutting down because they're diseased or dead. But for the large part, you know, we can keep as many trees as possible um, by simply laying the roads and the housing lots up the middles of the fairways, or the old fairways, I guess you would call it. And you know, this would lend itself to um, you know, maintaining somewhat of the feel of the property, um, maintaining the trees, which obviously are very important, keeping some of the open space. Obviously, as people move in and take over their homes, they're going to do their own plantings and landscaping, etc. But the starting point will kind of keep the overall feel of the property intact. The third section that we have, Alex, if you scroll back to the colors again. Yeah, we have a green area here. Um, that would be, again, residential B zoning. So 150 by 100 lots roughly, which is what those three little things kind of show. Again, you're not married to that because you follow the contour of the land and you adjust the lot, etc. But it gives you an idea, a representation of what it would be. And I think we had, what did we have, Alex? 25, 30 of the market rate houses there? Do you recall?
Sorry, I just had to unmute. We've got 35 of the large homes, 26
Right.
of the medium-sized homes, 62 of the age restricted, and 22 affordable homes. That'll be split between the medium, the green and the yellow. So you're gonna have affordable for the regular as well as for the age restricted homes. So a range of that.
Okay. As you can tell, Alex is very precise.
Can I ask
Go ahead.
one question since you're mentioning all three parcels? Where are the exit and access?
Leslie, can you hold on to your question till after the presentation is
Sure.
over? And then you can ask it. We have a Q&A afterwards.
Oh, all right.
Okay, thank you.
Well, Leslie's not so far off because that's where I was going next anyway.
Okay, all right, good.
The what we tried to do is I saw something that had been proposed by who was it, Toll Brothers, a couple of years back. It's a typical Toll Brothers. We're going to have one entrance. We're going to send the bulldozers in. We're going to plow the hill down. We'll put up a big circle, and every house looks the same. We tried to do the exact opposite. There's going to be two independent access points on Woodfield. If you can see the gray line down there, and kind of above where it says sample lot size, that's very close to where that cell phone tower is. And there is an existing access. It's not used at this point, but we thought we would rehabilitate it and replant it and dress it up a little bit, and that would be the entrance for the age-restricted homes. A little further down the road, about where the current clubhouse is on Woodfield, would be another entrance to the property, and that would largely provide access to the medium-sized affordable homes, medium-sized and affordable homes, those residential B-size homes and lots that would be in the green area. And then there would be a third entrance, which would be across from, I believe it's called Fairview on Johnson. And that's kind of near where the old soda stand used to be when there was the golf course there. And that would be an entrance that would come into the top part there and service those.
Joe, could you also speak to the driveways on the large lots?
Yeah, we covered that earlier on. Yeah, there's I think we fixed it so that there was maybe 4 driveways on Ansonia and maybe 5 driveways on Johnson. Now this purple and green and kind of yellow thing there, that covers approximately, I'm going to say this is a 150-acre lot. I think it covers maybe 75, 80 acres. We don't intend to use the rest of this space. That would be dedicated as open space in a couple of different formats. Some of it would be just plain vanilla open space. There's across Woodfield, there's a chunk over there. We were thinking of putting the dog park over there, and you can have 15 acres and let the dogs run around and have a great time. There's a cutout up where Johnson and Ansonia meet. we thought we'd do a playground up there because the kids would get dropped off from school. We talked to Dr. Bud, the logical bus stop would be where Fairview is. You can put a parking lot there, and moms and dads can drop kids off and pick them up when they come home from school. Kids can play in the playground. There is, as you can see, the yellow thing down at the bottom there, the current tennis and volleyball courts. We would fix those up, dedicate them back to the town. Where the clubhouse is, I looked at the clubhouse, to be honest with you. I don't think it's salvageable. I think the best answer is demolish it and do a new one. On a much smaller scale. I think that's like 22,000 square feet, and you don't need that. And our proposal is to put a public pool and a clubhouse that's for a pool. And have dressing rooms, bathrooms, soda stand, that type of thing. We don't need a ballroom, in my opinion, and that was not what we were intending to do. In addition, we are proposing that there would be a whole bunch of bike paths, trails, walking paths, etc., running through this property. And I believe there's a bike path extension that's coming down over to where Johnson and Ansonia meet. So we kind of would tailor it to meet up with that. But on this property, you can see around this green thing going kind of all the way around the perimeter would be the perimeter bike path, and then there would be a couple of cross ones going through the property, and then 1, 2, 3 vertical ones going up and down the property. We picked those spots because when we walked the property, we saw that there was a bunch of double tree lines between some of the fairways, and where you see the green lines, those are the double tree lines. Some fairways had a single tree line. The ones with the double tree lines looked like a very good place to put bike paths. And actually, it mimics a lot of where the current or old golf cart paths were. So, I think all told, there was maybe 12, 15 acres of open space that would be worked into the development and be used as bike trails. Along the roads, Johnson and Ansonia, the bike trail would be set back. Technically, it would be on private property because it would be on the lot for that larger home that's on Johnson and Ansonia. But since you have a 50-foot setback under the zoning, the first 25 feet of the lot would be subject to a public use easement for the bike path and the walking path, so that people could take use of it, enjoy it, and the homeowners would know about it before they bought it. And obviously there'd be some modest reflection in price, but our view is that the overall community is a little bit better because of what you're including, rather than making gates and things like that. So that's kind of the overview of what we're proposing. And I realize it's a very generalized discussion, but we wanted to give everybody a chance to poke at it, if you will, with questions. So you guys are up.
Leslie? Yeah.
I'd like to get back to that driveway issue. Having gone through a couple of these presentations, questions about especially the age restricted lots. You think one driveway is going to do it? Or maybe it was two, sort of. It's a lot of houses there, and people tend to have sometimes greater needs than other people in terms of health and just accessibility to other things, seeing as their home more. Is that fair to ask? The
Yes.
driveways.
Yeah. There's two different um, scenarios for the age restricted. Um, I would say the majority of the houses would be on the main road, like that gray thing that goes through there. That would be the main road, so the house would kind of front up to that. And really, the houses would be oriented more towards the street because the back part of the lot, in many cases, would be in the tree line where the bike path is.
Right.
So, for those, even though you'd have a 15,000 square foot lot, maybe the back 5,000 square feet, really the homeowner is not using it because it sits in either the tree line or next to the bike path or whatever. So they're going to have a smaller usable space. I mean, the houses will be nicely spaced apart, won't be as crowded as it is over at Fieldstone. Um, so, it'll be a little bit more palatable, but those houses will be easily accessed from the main roadways going through there. There's a couple of spots in the back where that gray thing goes up. If you go from the orange where the tennis courts and volleyball courts are, and you go in there where the entrance is, and then go up, and there's a road going across. You see how there's a big gap there. There's going to be a couple of houses there which will have a shared driveway. So there may be two or three driveways up there which would service 4 or 5 houses each. And the people who are moving in would have to take into account their needs when they're choosing which one they're going to go to.
Yeah, I mean that's 62 people. A lot of people. Um, okay, I think I understand. I mean, I'm also reflecting on what I see in our neighboring town. That development, which unfortunately is pretty close to my house. And I see what happens, in terms of people accessing it. It gets very, very botched up there. Um, and again, I just wanted to make sure that I understand you're saying about the individual driveways or the ones, the collective ones, etc. But one way in and out to the main road, possibly two. I just hope that's enough.
Well, there'd be two ways out directly from uh, the senior section. One next to the existing clubhouse, and one next to the where that cell phone tower is. Um, if they wanted to, they could cut across and come out on Johnson by Fairview. Um, we haven't finalized everything yet, but um, you know, they could just drive around and go up that way. It's depends how where people are going, I suppose.
Yeah.
I have a question whenever it's my turn, Leslie, when you're done.
Oh, go ahead.
You sure? Okay.
No, I'm fine.
I apologize for not showing my lovely face. I'm under the weather. I don't want to scare anybody, so I
Oh.
apologize for the circle with my initials. So as you know, I wear a couple of hats with the town on certain committees, and I am on various things about the town. The first one is just so I'm sure you're already aware, we do have a dog park in the center of town. I'm sure you're aware of that, correct? That's one of my points, but you know that. The second is, yes, we need more housing stock in town, I think, in general, in the nation at this point. However, I think judging from the deadline of next year of July, we desperately are in need of affordable housing. And this is a big piece of property for the town of Woodbridge. Obviously, I realize that no developer's coming in to make all affordable housing. However, it would be my hope that more than just, I think you said it was 22. And I think you used the word sampling within the age restricted. for affordable housing was the word that you had used, and that there was 22 affordable housings within this unit. Please don't make me do the math to figure out the percentage there of affordable housing within the development. Um,
It was
what do I
20,
have?
it
Did they?
was,
I'm sorry. Go
it
ahead.
was,
Sorry.
no, I can tell you how we did the math.
Okay.
The residential A unit homes, I'm not going to use the word unit. The residential A homes, which are the acre and a half lots,
Mhm.
don't count when it comes to the affordable housing calculation. So
Mhm.
we left those out. Then we took the balance, which between, if you put aside affordable and you just looked at the green and the yellow, I think it was 110 units total. Again, I said units, homes total on the divided up between those two types of homes. And what we did was we took 20% of that 110, which was 22,
Right.
um, and that's, we, like I said, we read the zoning regulation. We just followed the regulation,
Right.
and it said, you know, if you're going to do something less than residential A, and we're doing residential B, then you're going to give up 20% for affordable housing, which is what we're doing.
Mhm.
And we just unilaterally put 11 in age restricted and 11 in the medium-sized homes. Um,
Right.
if I might comment, don't take the ratios um, between the green and the orange as reflective of what they will be when we actually lay this out. This is just a rough representation. My instinct tells me that you're probably going to see a little bit more yellow and a little bit less green, simply because the numbers work out that way. Um,
Mhm.
but this was just to give people a concept of, we're going to have a neighborhood with families, a neighborhood with uh, age restricted homes, and you know, another neighborhood, if you will, with larger homes and lots.
Can I ask another question?
You
So
can.
as
I have all evening, Leslie. Let's go.
okay. Um, okay, the consideration on the impact of water and septic and all those good things, that's a lot of people on a parcel that probably wasn't intended for that when the club was built. What adverse effects might you anticipate?
I talked to both utilities, sewer and water, and they told me that I can only go on what they told me, but they told me that they have the capacity to hook all of this up to the sewer mains and the water mains. I mean, we have to pay for that, of course, but
What one benefit is we know that there's a creek on the west side of the site, and right now all the water drains from the entire site into that creek. So sometimes the creek actually overflows, and or not overflows, but gets high. And what we'll be putting in storm drainage and reducing the speed of the flow of water. So the site will actually end up having less runoff water in terms of got lots of rain and will possibly worried about homes surrounding them, we'll actually end up having better water management for the site. So you won't have torrents of rain just pouring to the side of the site anymore. So it'll drain it'll be better management of the stormwater. So hopefully, after looking at the hurricanes lately and the increased rainflow in Connecticut, we believe there'll be a net benefit there, just as a way of managing what's going on in Woodbridge.
And I have
Okay.
a question. So the affordable homes, uh, will people apply for these and they have to qualify financially for them? Does
yes,
that,
yeah, our understanding is that there's um, an income hurdle that people have to fall under, if you will,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
to be able to buy these affordable homes. And again, according to the Woodbridge zoning regulation, of the 22 affordable homes, we have to price half of them so that people who have 80% of what they call the AMI can afford them. And then we have to price the other half so that people who have an AMI of 60% or less can afford them. So, relative to home prices in Woodbridge, these would be dirt cheap. The qualification for them would not be our responsibility, I believe, at the end of the day. There is somebody regulates that and does it. It's just not us.
Mhm.
So that's all I can answer on that one.
Okay.
Joe, can I just ask a follow up? I'm sorry, because I'm just trying to learn here about now you have the 20% number for the affordable housing, just so I can correctly relay this information. You indicated that in your calculations, you were not including the large homes that are on the exterior of the property. Is there a particular reason why? I mean, is it in the zoning regulations or where are you getting
Yes.
that
No,
information?
that's in your zoning regulation.
Okay.
Your zoning regulation, if I can just digress for a second, is fairly standard in its approach. You're allowed to vary from the baseline density, and in Woodbridge, the baseline density is residential A. Um, we would only be allowed or entitled to build homes on, um, those 65,000 square foot lots, an acre and a half. If you want to do something smaller, then the trade-off for giving you as a developer, a higher density is that you have to include affordable housing in the higher density units.
Hmm.
So what we did was we tried to balance a lot of competing interests here. Um, there's people that want the town to look the same. There's people that want affordable housing in the town. There's people that want open space. There's people that want parks. There's people that want the tennis courts preserved. I mean, all these things. So
Right.
all we tried to do was listen to all of the constituencies and come up with something that's balanced. And you know, this, if you will, is my balancing act.
Right. Okay. Thank you for answering.
Any other questions?
I just have one quick question, because this isn't the first proposal, that's come along, and it gets all the other proposals have gone down a road, and I'm sure you've done your due diligence to not repeat the same, to run into the same roadblocks. What's the biggest differentiator in this package as compared to some of the other ones that were similar that you won't run into the same issues?
Well,
That's
you're always going to run into the same issues, aren't you? Because
yeah.
some people don't want, or take the school issue, for example, right? Um, we talked to the selectmen, and one of the issues that came up, David Lober, I think, you're going to impact the schools because you're going to move families in. And my first thought was, David's not anti-family. I know that. So he's worried about the impact on the school system, how you're going to be able to afford things. And that's one of the reasons why we kind of rebalanced, if you will, the home allocations between the age restricted and the others. When we first did the first draft, we had fewer of the age restricted homes. We did some math. We figured out, if we do more age restricted homes, you end up with a result where the town gets the benefit of the tax revenues from those homes, but there's no burden on the school system because those homes are not going to have school age children in them. And what we tried to do is we tried to balance it out so that I think in the presentation there's a sheet that shows, it's going to generate, X type of positive cash flow for the school system. You know what? As long as it as long as it's revenue neutral, it's good. That's my opinion. If you can get to a zero-sum game when you're done with this, then you've accomplished something. Because all the kids can go to school and you're not going to have a drain on the school system.
Thank you.
I don't know if I answered your question, but I have
Yeah, it's
fun
a hard
talking.
question. I just, you know,
I think
we've,
Patty, was that you, Patty? I'm sorry, I can't, I don't know.
yeah,
Yes, it
Hey,
was.
Patty. I think it's the, like Joe just said, it's because I'm dealing with it with the affordable housing issue as well. It's the school, the school aspect, um, how it will look to have what everybody likes to call cluster housing, which is a bad word, I think, when we're dealing with something like this. And I think, Joe, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but from what I can see, utilizing the lay of the land, so to speak, and not ridding it of, as you indicated earlier, the hills and the trees and things of that nature, hopefully can appease those who do not want a toll brother situation as there is in Orange. And I think that's going to be the main issue is a lot of people don't want it to look aesthetically unpleasing. The schools, and then my situation with the affordable housing is knowing having people understand what that really means. So if that answers too, Patty, I don't want to put words in
yeah,
Joe's mouth, but I've
yeah.
heard the
You,
argument. So
thank you.
One
You
other
both
thing,
did.
one other thing we noticed from the Tolls Brother presentation is that it was cookie cutter. There's no addressing the fact that Woodbridge is a varied place and there are different styles, and there's a need for not having long, sort of empty streets. If you look at the way we have the streets laid out here, it's the intention of creating a neighborhood so people can actually walk through someplace where people want to exist. The Toll Brothers layout, it was essentially one long street with homes down, and those long roads feel very empty, and don't like what it just doesn't feel comfortable. So by having smaller block sizes, we're hoping to have it so that children and families are comfortable walking through there. We want to actually make it feel like a place that is welcoming. And the toll layout, we really felt that didn't have that. So we made a big effort to have something that was not cookie cutter, have lots of different home styles, and, and hopefully make it feel like this happens almost more organically as opposed to just someone dropped it and said, "Hey, here it is. Good luck." Try not.
Well, if I can comment, when I looked at the Toll Brothers presentation, one of the issues I saw was that they had one road in and out for whatever it was, 120 homes or something. And the one road was going to come out on what you see on your screen there. See where it says Sledding Hill, right up there at the top above that, where those other roads happen to come in too. And I looked at it and I said, this is a traffic management nightmare they've created. Because everybody's going to come out one entrance, and you've got Ansonia running by, and you have two other roads coming in there. So all you're doing is creating a traffic jam. And you know, one of the guiding principles is you do your create homes that people want to move into, but do it in a way that is respectful, if you will, of the way the property is now. And maintains the ecology that's there, because honestly I was very impressed. I mean, the trees there are absolutely gorgeous. That was the thing that struck me, because they were all planted 60, 70 years ago, and you have everything. You have shagbark hickories, you got pin oaks, I found northern pecans in there, um, you know maples, a couple of elms, plenty of oaks, white oaks, um, you know
Joe, would you tell us about how many other um, developments you have under your belt?
Currently, I have it's a 155-acre project in Redding, California, which is Redding is a 110,000 person town, and their housing stock oddly, is kind of like Woodbridges. They have no multifamily housing there, zero. If you pull it up on Zillow, it's like 1%. And they have they have a large regional medical center there. The people who work there need someplace to live that they can afford, and there's nothing within 50 miles. Um, so we're doing a couple of hundred units of multifamily. We're doing a couple of hundred units of single family, more like your residential B here rather than your residential A, just because of the way the property lays out. And that's what the town wanted anyway, because it makes the houses more affordable. There is no affordable housing in that one. Um, it's not a concern for them apparently. Part of the property abuts I-5. We're not doing residences next to a highway. It's not a good answer. However, since there is for this property, it was specially put in an off ramp from I-5. Amazon is very interested in taking 40 acres for a distribution center. So the parcel that sits abuts the I-5 is going to be a distribution center. And the trucks don't go through any of the residential neighborhoods. They go right onto I-5 and go away. I had another project. We just sold that was 122 units multifamily housing in Salida, Colorado, which is a very small mountain town, but extremely popular because it sits on the headwaters of the Arkansas River. And there is a massive business for kayakers, canoers, rafters, bikers, hikers, and everybody else going into the mountains there. You know, my partner and I, Dwayne, worked on that for several years, and we got it to the point where we're ready to put a shovel in the ground. And somebody came along, offered some money, and Dwayne was kind of tired. He says, "Joe, can we sell it?" And I said, "Okay, Dwayne, we'll sell it." So we just sold that last month. So that's, you know, I've managed and run some multifamily stuff in New York City for building complex in Queens. You know, that was an inheritance. The building manager was a crook. Told us the building was bankrupt. I moved in, I took over, I resurrected the property, sold it during the last depression for 10 million bucks cash. So that's a little bit of my experience.
If you're interested in taking a look at our construction, this is potentially our construction company. It's one of the few we're looking at. If you're interested in taking a look at some of their projects, here are some that are nearby. You actually go and drive them and see what they look like. We think some of them are a little, some of their designs are a little cookie cutter, so we're going to have it a bit more varied here. Again, we feel it's very important to not appear like a development that just got thrown in there and looks all the same. So you can go take a look at these, but again, our intention is to have very different styles to make sure planting will probably be similar, but for the most part, it's very important for us to not do cookie cutter. We want to make sure that this is something that actually fits within the Woodbridge, the style of Woodbridge. These are potential homes. This is not the models which are picked. This is just showing.
Can you send us a link of this presentation?
Oh, absolutely. Happy to do it. And then on the bottom right, by the way, one of the things which is important is that some of these homes we were asked to include it's not really we're asked to include a multi-family style, so it's not just single family homes. So some of these homes are going to be very close to one another in the style on the bottom right, or groups of four. You see the bottom left, there's two ranch homes with a garage in between them. You might have that set up with four homes in that style. We were told that is something that the town is interested in doing, so we're doing it. Again, our whole plan is to fit what you guys need.
Yeah, the definition of multifamily under the town's zoning regulation is the homes have to be attached. So as Alex was mentioning, the bottom row there, those two different types of houses, those are attached. The fourplex attached, which would be the one on the bottom left, they would be attached front and back, and then side to side where the garages are. So you'd have four of them that would share, a back common wall and then the garages. The other version is is the lower right, which you're probably familiar with, which is, your standard townhouse type. Our intent is that the affordable units would be some mixture of the lower left and the lower right. We haven't really refined it more than that at this point, because those have to be.
We would have some of those that style also marked rate. It's not going to be just the affordable. You don't want it. You want it to be the affordable units are very obvious. It's trying to integrate it into the town.
Yeah.
It's the last thing you want to do is make people feel uncomfortable. It defeats the purpose. The purpose is so you can make a more varied town, inclusive. The plan is to build a better neighborhood. So we will make some of those market rates, some of them. So people won't just walk down like, oh, that's the affordable one. It's all going to look. It's going to be built into. We're making it so that it's a combined development. We don't want people to feel excluded. So we're not going to make it only the affordable ones now.
So what is your timeline in building these homes? What are you projecting?
As fast as possible. Interest rates are rock bottom, so
Right.
get them out there.
But what about the materials? I know there's a shortage of materials right now. So do you think that will stall you?
You pay the price.
Yeah.
It's the simple answer. Right?
Also,
It's a trade-off because you're going to see impact on demand as interest rates go up, right? And at the same time, as there's an impact on demand, the demand on supplies is going to go down. So it's a balancing act. And really, for example, take lumber. Lumber skyrocketed,
Mm-hmm.
but 1,000 board feet of lumber, regular prime grade, pine studs were 12 to 15 bucks. Now they're back to $5. So, the kinks in the supply chain are starting to work themselves out, and you're starting to get some balancing of supply and demand. So that's, you just have to deal with it as you get to it. That's all.
And Joe, you and Alexander, it sounds like you're amenable to editing. I mean, not obviously erasing the entire plan, but editing based on comments from the town and needs from the Board of Selectmen. Is that correct? Because I think,
absolutely.
yeah, because we do have needs in our town. We do need obviously more housing stock, but we need different types of housing as well, which I see that you're trying to do with this particular project. However, maybe the Board of Selectmen says, well, I like to squeeze out, 3 more affordables or a little more age restricted or something of that nature. So you're amenable to any type of editing, kind of work as a team collaboratively to get this project completed.
Your
No,
town.
that's out of the question. I'm iconoclastic and I will not change.
Listen to me, Joe. I'm telling you, that's how it happens sometimes. Come on.
I'm teasing you, Nicole.
No, we think that it's really important that we are not. That's just it's the last thing we want to do is just come in and steamroll your town. The whole idea is to work together. It's very important to do that because it's at the end of the day, this is still where you're living. We want to make it so that it's still a place you guys. We see how people are already walking their dogs, just using that park. We want to make sure people can still do that. We want to make sure that this remains your part of your town.
Can I throw another one of my sticky questions?
No. Please do.
Okay. On the model of I guess it's I don't know what you call it, unit, whatever that is, the bottom right one. Where's the garages?
The townhouse. That again, that's just reflective. The garages could be in the back, or they could be.
But they're I'm sorry, go ahead.
No,
This is just-
I'm just saying
Oh, no.
that's sampling. That's not precision. When we build the house, as you see in townhouses, we'll have a drive-up garage. Um, this particular model, the garage would probably be in the back instead of the
So there
front.
are garages though, that.
Yes, they were, for most of these houses, all of these houses, there's garages. That's, you're building.
Okay,
Well,
and
it depends too, if people want a cheaper, not cheaper, more cost efficient, um, affordable home, all right? You don't put a garage in
but
because
that,
because it's dead space. Then you put parking spaces out front.
right, and that in itself is not desirable. The other question I have is the appeal, the marketing appeal. I'm sure you've done your marketing for the more expensive homes. The Did you give us a rough, just a ballpark rough idea of how much the range is for those homes?
Call it $1 million to $1.1 million.
Okay, and so the appeal for that price tag of those homes in that situation where there are other homes so close by, it's feasible.
Yes. The
Okay.
the other home, first of all, you're gonna have natural separations because if you go back to the big picture, you can see that the bike paths are there separating, homes from other homes and that type of thing. And again, a 65,000 square foot lot is on average 200 feet wide, 325 feet deep, and that gets you 65,000. And you get 50-foot setbacks front and back. It's a lot of space, a lot of openness. People are not going to feel crowded.
We're not trying to recreate frankly, the shocking density of what happened in Fieldstone and Orange. That's
Yeah, no, it's not even density. It's just sort of the aura. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure you've done your research, so I guess they're sellable.
Well, you have to think of it. Look at the comment I made before about interest rates, right? $1 million home. Assume you finance the whole thing, right? Interest payment is $30,000 a year at a 3% interest rate, which is $2,500 a month.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Believe me, there's buyers, a lot of them, especially with the kind of job we're going to do.
And also, I mean, just those trees. When you walk. I was walking. We were walking through the having trees of that quality and just being near them. It's wonderful. Who wouldn't want to be near them? That sort of the fact that they have different types of trees in the development. Normally, what you see is almost all the same type of trees. To have that variety and the age, spectacular.
Yeah, I wasn't going for price and for the interest rates and the trees. I was going more for just the concept. I don't know. I mean, I'll let it be. And
Oh, you mean
you know,
who's going to pay $1 million for a home in Woodbridge? That's the question.
well, it depends on where it is, and it depends on what the draw is. But yeah, as I said, you did your marketing.
All right.
There's
If there aren't any other questions at this point, any other questions? Anybody before?
Or I had a quick question.
Sure, go ahead.
That's okay.
Yes.
Hi,
of course.
Jen. Sheila McCrevin from the Board of Selectmen.
Hi, Sheila, how are you
Hey,
today?
I'm liaison to this committee, is why you're seeing me here as well. And you'll see another member of the Board of Selectmen, I believe, at the Recreation Commission a little bit later. I just had one quick question based on what you were saying earlier, and I think I heard something about the setback. And you may have mentioned 25-foot setback. Is that the setback for your roads, or I have a feeling that Ansonia Road, the setback is further. It might even be 100.
50. No, it's 50 feet is a setback.
Okay.
Your residential A lot has a setback front and back 50 feet, side to side 25 feet.
Okay, so I know there was a time when I did know our zoning regs pretty closely, but I know they've changed. Do you know if that's something that's a recent change?
I pulled that out of the June 9th zoning reg.
Oh, maybe it's recent. Okay, and then the other quick question I had for you was with regard to kind of the protected watershed area in the sort of south, like where you have the pool. I think if you look on some
Right,
maps,
right.
there's water. Can you tell us about how you're going to work around that, or how you might address that?
That, actually, I don't think we are going to end up building there at all. Um, when we laid out these roads, it was for a larger number of homes, and then we toned it down a bit, if you will. And I think that whole section down by the pool is not going to be used because we don't need it.
So
There's,
that most
yeah,
south
yeah,
road.
that like Y road down there at the bottom where
Yeah.
it says pool. I think
Yeah.
that whole piece doesn't get used. And I think that just is going to be deeded back to the town as
Yeah. I
open space because I saw on the water conservation map that that piece of the parcel is in the water conservation zone. So rather
Right.
than mess with it, walk away from it.
There, I see. Okay, and then lastly, I was just going to mention that there was some sort of environmental wildlife inventory that was created a few years back. I don't know if you'd gotten a chance to see that, but it talked about the different species of birds, et cetera. So I really do appreciate the idea of leaving as many trees intact as possible because those are, where the birds have been flying through for decades and decades now. So
I looked at it. I told you I spent 6 hours walking this property. And the thing that struck me was that you clearly the trees were planted by man because he wanted to make a golf course, but God took over. And he does a better job than we do, to be honest. And the place is beautiful. And the thing that struck me is why do you want to ruin something that's beautiful? So, make your project work with the land the way it is. And that's what we've tried to do.
Yeah, and at one time, of course, if you look in the 1930s aerial maps, you can see that it was all fields. It was being farmed.
Yeah, it was a farm. It was Clover Hill or something. We are trying to come up with names, and I was like, "Hey, Clover Hill Farms." No, it's
Yeah, Roger
there's
Sherman. Roger Sherman owned the property, and he called it his Amity Farm, Clover Hill.
yeah. Amity Farm might not be bad. I was thinking maybe since Roger Sherman signed the Declaration, I thought we'd call it Independence Farms. That's got a good Connecticut Yankee ring to it. So
There you go.
Okay. Well, we thank you very much for this presentation. I know you have to run and do another one shortly, so thank you. We'll give the host opportunities back to Tony, I guess, right? Yeah. And we look forward to hearing more about your proposal and best wishes. And thanks again for coming this evening and presenting to us. We really
our
appreciate it.
our
Okay.
pleasure. Thank you for having us.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we normally don't go over an hour. We have a very long agenda, and why don't we just do a couple of things and then maybe table the rest for the next time because I don't want to keep you here for 2 hours. So, what?
Excuse me, Laura. With that said, I just want you to know that Pua will need to prep for her next meeting that she's recorded. She slipped me a note just to
Yes,
say if we could wrap up about 6:45, the
yes,
latest.
yes, absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely,
Okay.
perfect.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So now we will start our first meeting for the 2021-2022 Cupop year with the introduction of our new associates. So we have Todd Sasso, our newly appointed commissioner. Todd, are you there? He was here earlier. Is he here? Todd? Can you hear me? All right. Well, we'll come back to Todd. But I wanted to welcome Todd, and he's our newest commissioner, and I wanted him to tell us a little bit about himself, his work, and if he had other volunteer work and hobbies, and how long he's been living in town. So I'll move on to Tim Austin. Tim Austin's going to be our new liaison for the from the Conservation Commission. So welcome, Tim. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your interests, your hobbies, your work, and anything else that you would like to tell us so that we get to know you a little bit better?
I just muted you, Tim. It's muting. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hello?
Laura, I heard you starting to introduce me. but
Yes, I would like
it's
you
very
to
garbled.
introduce yourself. Yes, welcome. And just tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
Hello, everybody. I have been a member of the Conservation Commission for a very short time, actually, for about 9 months. And before being appointed to that commission, I was a member of the Park Association in town, and for about 5 years. And that's my background, by which I came to the Conservation Commission, and just a month ago, I was elected the chair of the Conservation Commission.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So I will take the liaison spot for now, and we'll have a discussion in the Conservation Commission and make sure that we'll stay with that arrangement or not. And so I'm going to be listening a lot to understand what your commission is up to.
And we're interested in working closely with you. So,
Wonderful.
whatever we can work together with you on, please let us know. And we'd love to collaborate with you. So welcome. Thank you. Thank you very much, Tim. And secondly, we're welcoming back our Sheila McCrevin to our Board of Selectmen as Board of Selectmen liaison. We're just so excited and elated that you're back. So welcome. And I understand, not to, I was going to ask later in the program, but I'm going to jump the agenda. There's another proposal out there too, besides
Yeah,
this.
I was going to give you that brief update. You've obviously just seen this proposal. There will also be an opportunity for complete members of the public to just open up and come to a meeting tomorrow, Wednesday night, the 29th. That's a public meeting where anyone can ask similar questions to what you guys asked. But then there's going to be a presentation at the next Board of Selectmen meeting, which is October 13th. That's a Wednesday. And it's from a company called Eclipse that has another idea they'd like us to consider there. So there will be two different proposals. They're sort of on two different tracks right now, but the selectman has already taken a look at the one you've just seen, and now we'll take a look at Eclipse. And if that's going to go around similarly, you may also see it at some point, be able to weigh in. And then lastly, I was just going to remind everybody, there is a survey on the town website, housing survey, which it's very important that people fill that out as we begin to make that plan. I know Nicole is on the committee that's responsible for gathering even more information than that, but that's a baseline, and we'd love everyone to do that. If you go to the homepage, woodbridgect.org, scroll down a little bit, you should see that link, and the survey takes 3 or 4 minutes as well.
Okay.
Thanks,
Great.
Bella. I was going to say that.
And I stole your thunder, Nicole.
And also there's hard copies of the library, the senior center, and town hall as well for those of you who are challenged like myself sometimes when it comes to the computer. So
okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you both. And so now item 5 was the motion to elect a Cupop chairperson and secretary per code 75-10. And anyone out there that would like to self-nominate themselves for this important position? I think it's time for new blood. I've been doing this for a long time. I
You're
will
good
still
blood.
continue. I will still continue to. I would love to still continue to be on the commission, but I think it would be nice to have a different person be the chairperson. So, any interests?
Laura, you're the chairperson. I mean, do you have any suggestions?
Well, how about you, Nicole? Would you
Oh.
be interested? I'm going to throw it back at you. Would you be interested?
If everybody else is in agreement, I'm happy to step to the side if somebody else has their heart set on it, but I'd be happy to help.
Okay, so let's have a motion. Okay, can I have a motion to nominate Nicole
When
Dunzo?
Make that motion.
Okay, all right. And
When-
yes, go ahead.
When does this become effective?
It would become effective for the next meeting, right? Or yeah, for the next meeting. Second, is there an issue? Leslie?
No. I just didn't know the timeline. I'm just gonna miss you.
Well, I'm not going anywhere. I'm still here.
I know.
But yeah, so, and I'll work, closely with Nicole, because she's got a lot of irons in different fires too. So I'll work closely with her. So, second, may I have a second, please, in the nomination?
Sure.
Okay, Leslie seconds. Okay, all right, and all can you raise your hands? All in favor, please raise your hands. Okay, it's unanimous. About Nancy, can you tell me yes or no? And also Todd Sasso.
I don't think he's on right
You don't
now.
think he's on? Okay,
I don't think
but
so.
but
I don't
it's
see his
on.
name on the top.
Yeah, you see his name, but it says it's
Oh,
he's yeah.
okay.
Nancy, I don't see Nancy. Okay,
Ow!
okay.
Very
Oh, there
first-
you are, Nancy. How are you?
Yes,
Okay, so are you in agreement with Nicole being the chairperson?
of course.
Okay, yes, okay. So we have, and then we just we don't have a vote from. Just make a note of it. That
Thanks, Nancy. I like the enthusiasm.
Yes, of course. Yes.
I had questions for the developers, but I couldn't get heard.
Oh, okay. Did you? We'll have to figure out how to do this for you for the next time.
Nancy, there is a meeting Wednesday night. You'll be able to ask questions there if you can join that meeting.
Good to know. Thank you.
Okay. All right. And then the secretary, current secretary is Patty right now, right, Patty?
Right.
Okay. So any nominations for secretary? We'll continue with Patty.
Unless anyone is
I nominate Patty.
interested.
I nominate Patty for secretary.
Second,
Okay.
Second.
Second, Leslie. Okay. All in favor?
I
Bye.
Okay. Looks like it's unanimous. Yeah.
Nancy.
Will
I'm
do.
raising my hand. I don't have my picture up, but I'm raising my hand.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Please look at the June minutes. Moving on to item 6. Let's approve those. Get them out of the way. Okay.
So you need a motion or?
Yes, please. Motion.
Okay. I'll make a motion.
Okay. Nicole makes
I'll
a motion.
second it.
And who seconds?
Nicole will.
Okay.
Speaking of
All right. Oh, Patty and Nicole. Okay.
Yep.
Very good. All right. So show of hands to approve the minutes as written.
I'm raising my hand.
Okay.
me too.
Nancy? Okay.
Yes, I'm waving
It's
my
unanimous. It's unanimous except for Todd. We don't know about Todd. Okay, and so let's table everything else. Since it's 6:40.
Mhm.
Oh, before I table everything, let me just tell you that the Ad hoc Diversity and Inclusion Committee will be celebrating our differences for the first time ever on October 2nd, which is this Saturday. Woodbridge Like Me from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Town Green. So we're going to have a lot of presentations, dancers, and Master Kim, I believe, is coming also. Karate and Taekwondo, and so it should be a really, really nice day, an enjoyable day. So please come with your families and come and meet your neighbors, and let's celebrate our diversity. Okay, did you want to make a comment about human services, Patty?
Oh, yeah. So, congratulations again, Laura, for
Thank you.
your award. And thank you to Human Services, who did a fantastic job at organizing the whole evening. It went so smoothly, and everybody had a really nice time. And the speakers and award givers were very generous with their time. And it was just a great, great event for Woodbridge.
Yes, yes. Everybody, it was really a beautiful event. And
Yeah.
a lot of monies were raised for human services. And Jeanette Blickman is doing a great job, refurbishing and renovating the former senior center. Now it's Human Services Center, right? And I love that. And then I love the fact that the teen center is no longer the teen center. It's just the what do they call it now, Sheila? It's just a center.
Yes, the center.
The center, which is, it's just instead of pegging people or, grouped of ages, I'm still a teen. So, I'm going to go down there and have fun. But anyway, so then we'll move all the other items because we're at 6:43, and we'll unless Nicole, do you have anything to say about the housing opportunity study besides the survey?
Huh?
Nicole, you there?
And oh, sorry, am I?
Yeah.
And also, as mentioned, there will be a presentation this evening. I believe it's public, where David Fink will be presenting from the organization that is running the survey to kind of give us all more insight on the housing issue and what to expect if anyone's interested in hopping on that.
And when is this? When is this?
Tonight, I
Oh,
believe.
tonight. Oh, that's right. That's
Hop
right.
back on that.
Okay. It's at 7? Or
Correct.
7:30.
Yes. 7.
7. Very good. All right. Well then,
Two-
at
two
this
sentence-
point,
Just a 2-sentence appeal for the dog park, only because it's such a dire situation.
go ahead. Yeah.
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 I won't read you the whole thing that Bonnie sent me, but they did have a volunteer meeting on 9/21 that went well. However, there's still a need for administrative personnel to volunteer. They want to be in compliance with the original agreement with the town in order to run it smoothly and correctly, and to be able to utilize the land that we're letting them use. And it is a pretty dire situation in that they need to do this ASAP. So anyone interested in that, please go on the website and just see what their needs are. And she wanted me to tell everyone that they're also participating in Woodbridge Like Me this Saturday and hope to do something for Halloween.
Great. Great. Thank you.
Leslie, can I just ask a quick question? I'm sorry, I know you guys have to go, but did they find people to run the dog park? Did they go over Bonnie?
Not all the directors and officers. They did find people for other tasks, but according to what she told me, it's about approximately 50% successful since the last meeting.
Okay.
Getting people, but they still need people to help to run it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. And just our next meeting is October 25th and then November 22nd. and that's the week before the Monday before Thanksgiving. So you can start deciding if you want to have that meeting or if you want to not have that meeting with the new chairperson.
I like Nicole.
I'll send stuffing to everyone on Monday. How's that?
Congratulations, Nicole. Thank
Thank
you
you.
for stepping
Thank you,
up.
Laura.
Thank you very much. All right, and so now may I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay, Patty seconds it. And it is 6:46, and the Cupop meeting for this evening is adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for coming,
Thank you.
and we'll see you on the 25th.
Good
Thank you.
night.
Good night.
Night.